Birds 365. We went quickly to it. Mike got us into it. The Eagles workout guys from yesterday. 3 punters came in. A linebacker came in. Another long snap. What was that all about? They're trying to motivate Rick Lovato here. Brought in an extra.
I remember with these workouts, with the Eagles, obviously punter is more obviously immediate, but you'll see throughout the season a number of names will come out, especially early in the season when that teams work out, not just the Eagles, all across the league. And you're trying to build a dossier on players in case something happens. So my guess it has more to do with that than anything else. But because, the Eagles have done with that in the past. They've lost long snappers to injury numerous times. And all of a sudden you have to pick somebody up off the street and you want to be prepared to do it. So I think the long snapper part of it's just due diligence type of thing. See who's the best of the guys who are not employed, just in case.
By the way, John, I look down at my sheet and I see that today is the 600th episode of Birds.
Whoa, 600! Damn,
600, a nice round
Mikey
number.
missed on 600.
He was nice. Number 600. Brad Spielberger is going to be our second guest on number 600. And in the first 599 shows we've done, I don't think the word dossier has ever been used before. So I got to give you credit for getting dossier in on show number 600.
All right. Well, I throw that out. I'm surprised I haven't thrown that out. Usually,
I don't know. I'm just making it up, but I just don't ever remember you using it before. But it's a good word, and I understood exactly what you're trying to say. And here's the good news about this being 600. If we do 5 a week, holiday here or there. Oh, by the way, Tuesday we're off. Monday we're off for Labor Day, so we'll be back again on Tuesday. I'm figuring number 700 is going to come right in the Eagles playoff run, late December, early January, somewhere there about some 20 weeks down the road is right around when the Eagles are starting to make their Super Bowl run. So we'll click off the next 100 at a key juncture of the season. Let me ask you what I asked Miss Anelli about the running backs. We all think and ask questions about and speculate on how they're going to be used and who's going to do what. And you've got a good grasp on it because you're there at practice and you continue to tell us, hey, it's Kenny Gainwell because he gets more reps than anybody else. Now it's specialized. So when it's non-specialized situation in games, how are the Eagles going to do it? Well, we don't know yet. Do you think somebody's going to have to sit every week? They only went with 3 running backs last week, and you and I continue to harp on the fact that the special teams, as we can judge it right now, doesn't look chock full of great possibilities or guys with experience playing special teams. I'm not even talking about returning. I'm talking about coverage. You don't see any of those 4 running backs playing coverage on special teams, do you?
Nope. Now, Boston can help as a returner.
Return guy, right. That I get.
But yeah, no, I mean, I keep bringing it up and it is nitpicking. I'll self-report myself. It's definitely nitpicking because as much as, coaches will pay lip service and Howie paid lip service to the importance of special teams, let's be honest, every team doesn't value it as much as offense, defense. I mean, that's all hypocrisy, but there are teams that value it a heck of a lot more than the Eagles seem to be valuing. And by the way, one of those teams used to be the Eagles. When I brought up John Harbaugh earlier in the week. I mean, he was the guy when it came to special teams in this league as a special teams coordinator for many years. And Dave Bipp was one of the best and still is in Detroit for many years. And this team was famous for special teams players. Chris Maragos has made the Pro Bowl.
Yep.
Ike Reese, I brought up, your colleague at WIP, tremendous special teams player. Brian Brayman, on and on and on and on. They don't do that anymore, which is correlation to the same thing as running back and linebacker. They've devalued it. Are they right? Maybe they are right because kickoff coverage doesn't matter as much because of the rule changes. Punt coverage doesn't matter as much because of the evolution of punters, although they can't find a punter. Maybe they will with this group. Doesn't matter as much. And maybe that's what's behind it. But they lost the Super Bowl because of a stinking punt. I don't know. Maybe that would have woke somebody up and said, maybe pay a little bit more attention to this aspect.
It'll be very interesting week number 1 to see how many running backs they actually activate. Because, and again, different.
And that's typically, if you're a
staff.
4th running back, you got to help on special teams significantly. And that doesn't mean one kickoff return.
Right.
Yeah.
They don't have that guy. So my guess is they're only going to play 3. And I will continue to say at some point in the season, if he's going well, and right now I would guess that Rashad Penny, well, we don't even know how they're going to use these guys. Rashad Penny could be an important part of it if he is, as you say, the 20-20 guy. But they'd have some balance, and maybe Gainwell gets some of that. But then Penny gets some stuff down by the goal line. They can't be predictable. I thought that was an outstanding point you made about if they get slotted in their roles, then the other team is going to be able to pick up on the fact that they're slotted in their roles, and they're going to be prepared to stop it. So I think there's got to be some flexibility. If they only dress 3 every single week, it's going to shoot my theory down that Rashad Penny at some point is going to get some rest time, that they're going to give him downtime because they want to protect him from injury if he's going well. Mandatory downtime as dictated by the coaching staff, as in days off, will not play in a game, might have the most rushes in a game and then sit the next game. I read a story today about somebody speculating that Christian McCaffrey might get less carries, less touches in San Francisco this year than a usual year for him. Now, remember last year, he was with the Panthers to start before he went to San Francisco, went nuts. But his usual usage when healthy in Carolina, that they might cut back on him, AKA load management. I think that Rashad Penny's going to get a load management game in the middle of the season. I don't know if they'll ever sit McCaffrey, but do you think we'll see load management? I'm standing by it. I know you're not a fan of it. I think the Eagles are going to use it at the running back position this year.
Well, it's not that I'm not a fan of it. I think it makes sense in the NBA and even maybe baseball, where you play a lot of games. I think in football, because you only play 17 games, I think the Eagles use load management all the time, but they do it during the week with certain guys, whether it's, Jason Kelsey or Fletcher Cox or some of the veteran players, or even some of the players with younger players with significant injury histories. Landon Dickerson, Josh Sweat would be the notable examples. They do maintenance with those guys all the time, but it's during the week. When you only play 17 games, if you're healthy, you got to play. I mean, it's just, I think it's a numbers game from the NFL perspective. And you can manipulate things. Like Nick brought up a good point that you don't think about all the time. At least I don't think about it all the time. Football's the only professional sport where you practice more than you play. And it's true. And it's like, he's got a point. And that's the practice portion of it, is where they do the load management aspect of it.
Right. But here's what I would say to Nick if I were there. There's a reason for that, because it's such high tension, high physicality when you actually play. That's why they only play as little as they do as compared to as much time as they practice. So when you give some guy load management in practice, how much are you really cutting them back? You're not going all that hard anyway. You give them a game off, now you actually are reducing the chance for injury. Now you really are sparing a guy's body. There's a reason why they practice more than they play, because playing is so high-level physical that it takes its toll. You want to really give a guy some load management? Let him skip a game.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people thought they might even, when they extended the schedule, there was a lot of talk, if you remember, about mandating that players could only play 16 games. So, in other words, you had to rest even your best player, even your quarterback, um, for one game. And, people were saying, get it, theorizing, get it out of the way early, get it out, for a star player or something. Never came to fruition because,
Which,
you
by
know,
the way, were you a fan of that?
no, I'm not a fan
Oh,
of
I
it
loved
because
it.
for
I
for
loved it. Are you kidding me? The
for the exact
strategy
reason.
attached to it, when you're going to give your guy the day off. Do you wait and then he gets hurt? And oh my God, we sat him early.
Well,
He
yeah,
misses a game because of injury. Oh, that would just make it so much more entertaining and debatable as a member of the media who's got to cover it. I absolutely loved it.
uh, well, from the standpoint of creating, talk for what we do,
Yeah,
it's
that's
yeah,
what
it's
kind of what we're
probably.
doing here, Johnny Mac.
But I'm talking about in the game in general. I mean, it's it would create more strategy. By the way, coaches hate that.
Oh, I'm not surprised.
Anything that creates potential second guessing, they
Sure,
hate.
of course.
Um, so that from that standpoint. But when you're talking about star players, like again, and Greg, I'll bring up Greg Popovich is sort of the godfather of load management.
Oh, yeah.
You know, the fan aspect of it too, and the NBA. I mean, when the Spurs were the Spurs and they were great, and the Tim Duncan Spurs and Tony Parker Spurs and Manu Ginobili and those great teams, you know, NBA games are like uh, an event in other cities, and like with San Antonio's going into Memphis, you know, maybe people are going, I want to go see Tim Duncan. I want to go see Tim. And then all of a sudden they don't see any of them because it's
Right.
load management there. I don't like it from that aspect either. Um, that's just an NBA example. So if you go into, Tom Brady's going into, um, you know, insert city. Oh, but Tom's not playing today. I don't know that. And people say I don't care about the fans. I do care about the
Good for
fans,
you. Yeah,
and
Johnny
that
Mac,
aspect, and
the
that
advocate for
aspect,
the fans. I appreciate you.
and that
Screw
and
it.
that
I don't care.
and
I'm
that
more worried
aspect of
about
it.
conversation.
Yeah,
Uh,
and that aspect of it. I mean, it is a business. I say all the time, you're picking these people's pockets to begin with. Yeah, that's what bothers me from all, whether it's merchandising, I talk about it all the time. And then to, yeah, I talk about all the time in the preseason. Yeah, it's insane you charge these people
that
those prices.
that I can get behind in defending the fans. It is the fact that preseason tickets are, and some do the right thing and scale back, but it's part of the season ticket package. So you're paying for it whether you actually plan on going to the game or not. All right, one thing we're going to talk about with our next guest, Brad Spielberger from Pro Football Focus, cap analyst. Big signing in the NFL yesterday. Hockenberg signs
TJ Hawkinson, yeah.
Hockenson.
Kwesi Odofa-Mensah finally did something. I think he's had the job for, I don't know, 16 months. He finally did something.
Got him signed to a contract extension, $66 million over 4 years, which resets the tight end market. It could have some effect on Philadelphia. Now, not this offseason, heading if Dallas got to run in, walks in Howie Roseman's office and slams his fist on the desk, you got to redo my contract because DJ Hawkinson got his done. No, Dallas, go back to practice. We'll get to you. Don't worry about it, buddy. They just redid his contract. So not immediate, but at some point, like at the end of the year, if Goddard goes for 80, 120, 1100, has a Zach Ertz type season, oh yeah, he's going to come knocking at Howie's door to get his thing redone. One guy can reset the market at a specific position, can they not, Jeff?
Well, yeah, that's how it works. I mean, TJ's a very good player. I would say, the top three I sort of set apart, which is Kelsey, Kittle, Andrews. Then comes Goddard. Then comes TJ. So he's a top 5 tight end, but he's probably number 5. But that's how it works. It's his turn, so he becomes number 1. Sometimes you don't. Sometimes you can't surpass the top guy, but in this instance, he was able to do it. And I think again, it probably has more to do with a young general manager. You know, people are spoiled in Philadelphia for a lot of reasons when it comes to football, and one of the reasons is the GM. Experience matters. Experience matters, and Howie's really good, and at every aspect of this. But guess what, Jody? He was not really good as a young general manager, and that's what's going on with a lot of these other teams. You know, and I picked on Chicago. Now I'm picking on Minnesota. They have something in correlation. Young inexperienced general managers. Eagles went through that. You don't want to go through that if you don't have to go through that. I'm amazed that more people don't. Now, I get it. It's a bottom line business, and it's cyclical, and it's very hard to be disciplined like Jeffrey Lurie is. Man, the Eagles are spoiled.
Right, but they don't.
Yeah.
The example you're giving a great example, John. Howie wasn't great at it when he first started doing
that's
it.
The point.
So guess what? Point. You gotta go through the startup costs. We talk about startup costs all the time with players. Well, there's startup costs for general managers too.
Yes, exactly, Jody. But here's the point. You're right. I expect these mistakes. Quessie's not going to see year 10. Never mind year 15. Ryan Poles is going to see year 10. Never mind year 15. Now, can I guarantee that? Of course not. They might wake up and realize we've been doing it wrong, but everybody else is going to cycle these guys through. And this poor guy's going to, oh, he's doing a bad job. He made a mistake. I'm going to fire him and hire the next guy. That's why I'm saying Eagles fans are spoiled. Yes, did you have to live through the bad to get to the good? Of course. You had to get to, but then you don't, Jeffrey Lurie doesn't just say, all right, bad season, bunch of injuries, I'm going to blow out the general manager. Now he's blown out head coaches and he's blown out coordinators, and people asked him to fire Howie numerous times, but they should get their mea culpas when it comes to that. They really should, because Jeffrey made the right decision.
I think you got to give these guys a little bit of a chance, the young general managers.
Oh, I agree with. I think I'm agreeing with you 100%. I think you should let them grow. My point is, they're going to fire them for these mistakes. That's my whole point. I think you have to let them learn from the mistakes and get through it. And then when they gather some experience, they're going to be savvier and they're going to be better. But that's not how this league works, except in very rare instances, Philadelphia being one of them, who are patient. These organizations that are patient and let these guys grow.
But then there's Mickey Loomis down in New Orleans, who's been doing it for a while, and how he continues to take advantage of them. So some guys grow into very good general managers, and other guys unfairly get fired too quickly, and then still others, for some reason, seem to hang on.
And we'll talk about. I think I asked Brad that question once. Who's he's impressed with the young GMs? I'll ask it again. Yeah, I think that's one big advantage the Eagles have, man. I mean, Howie has learned. Howie was not good early in his tenure. Now he's freaking great.
As a matter of fact, he is in our green room. So let's take a quickie timeout. Cap analyst and writer for Pro Football Focus, contributor for OverTheCap.com, Brad Spielberger, joins us next here on Birds 365.